All right, so what is a class? Well, in Java, a class is just an object. Now, it can be used as an object to do something, or it could also be used as a blueprint to make other objects. So a good example of that would be, let's say I've got a pet class I want to create. So pretty much all pets, they eat, they drink, they sleep. But let's say if I've got a dog that barks or a cat that purrs, well, they eat, drink, sleep as well. And we could easily create other classes doing the same thing. But as you see, there's a lot of repeating code here, and that's not very efficient. So what we can do is we can extend the pet class. And when you extend a class, the subclasses can receive attributes from the parent class. So in this case, if we extend pet with our dog class, we inherit the drinks and the eats and the sleeps, and then we can add in our own unique attributes as well. All right, so I've created a class here called number printer. And this is where I declare it. So the class keyword is used to declare a class. You give it a name. And within a class, you can have parameters or fields. So in this case, I've got 2 integers. And also in a class, you need a constructor. So when you create an instance of this class, you've got to have a mechanism to create it. So here my constructor is just called number printer, and it's going to require an integer for first number and an integer for second number upon creation. So as soon as I create this, I've got to pass it 2 values. The constructor then takes those values that I pass it and applies it to these internal parameters. So when I create this object, I pass it a first number. It takes the first number and applies it to my first number parameter here. Okay, next I've got a method here. So this method is going to take my parameters and print them out. So here I'm using the void keyword, and void means that this is not going to return a value. It's just going to do something. So in this case, it's just going to print out to the console these 2 values. Okay, so this is just my class declaration. This is what's going to happen when I create a new object. So up here in my onExecute method, when I fire that off, I'm going to create a new instance of the number printer. I'm going to call it my printer. And this new keyword means this is a new object. So I'm creating a new one, and you give it the type, and then you give it the parameters it's looking for. So once that's created, from there I can call my print numbers method. All right, so if I jump over to my application directory, when I fire this off, I should get a print out of 1 and 2. So this is not necessary, but this definitely cuts down on some of your confusion. If you've got an object that's got a lot of code in it, and you're putting it all in the same execute method here, or wherever, it's really going to be hard to look back through and for somebody else to read through it, or it's just good practice to break your code up into smaller pieces of code. So in some upcoming videos, I'm going to be using these external classes a little bit to help simplify some of the code I'm going to be writing. So that's all for this one, and we'll see you on the next one.